Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to some high-level StarCraft 2. Today we have Gerald versus Clem, the current world champion, taking on the Polish Protoss sensation. As Gerald has been having quite a quick rise through the ranks over the past few months, showcasing some high-level StarCraft 2. And today he gets to show it off against none other than the world champion, who, by the way, is playing a weird build order here. What in the world is this, Mr. Clem? Oh, you love to see it. I'm a big fan of mind games, and this is definitely a mind game that Gerald is going to remember. Look at this. This is going to be a single base, double gas opener into a command center, into another command center, all of just a single factory with Cyclone. So what does this mean for Gerald? Well, Gerald doesn't really know what's going on. He didn't see the CC. He's going to at least see that there's... Well, he won't even finish that shade, so he won't see that there is a single command center up here. This could theoretically still be a one base all-in. He's going to get his scouting denied right now by this Cyclone. This depot is important. Needs to live. There we go. Cyclone is going to clear this adept. Maybe get a recall. Okay, gonna get a recall. First command center gets spotted. We have a battery here in the main base, or sorry, in the natural. Nothing yet in the main base. Gerald right now, he's probably in defense mode. He isn't quite sure what is going on. He doesn't know, hey, is this going to be like a Cyclone into tank all-in? Is this just a safety Cyclone? Is it going to be a Cyclone drop? There's a lot of potential attack moves that Clem could be going for from this particular opener, but it's just going to be a fast third CC. And if Gerald doesn't realize this in time, does not respond with his own third Nexus, and plays too defensive for too long, that could be a serious issue. The reason why I really like this particular mind game is because nowadays it's very common for the first unit to be an observer. If you know that your opponent is playing a 2-gas opener. So you go observer, get a lot of stalkers, and kind of play a defensive style. Because your opponent delayed their first command center a little bit. So you're like, okay, my eco is going to be just fine. As long as I stay alive, life will be good. Gerald, however, here is actually already moving across the map. It's going to get slightly supply blocked here, adding a fourth gas, as well as another pylon and a third nexus. So when it comes to the economy, he's going to be right on track to be in a good position. So he moves in forward, will clear this SCV building the bunker. He's trying to take out that Cyclone as well. Instead, going to take out another Marine. That tank accidentally shot his own Marine down for whatever reason. An interesting play that we don't see a whole lot at the highest level. RoboBay comes out at a decent time. We get a fast forge as well. Gerald honestly in a good position already. I really like where this is going. He's a little bit low in the worker count. Ideally, we'd see that just be a higher number. Would be nice to have more cash for him. Because Clem is going to be triple producing SCVs here. Has those triple mules as well, which is going to be greatly beneficial for him. It's not so bad for Terran to oversaturate a base if the oversaturation is happening with mules, because they work independently from the SCV. So 2 SCVs can work on a mineral patch, the mule can work on top of that, and provides value equal to about 3.5 SCVs per minute. And because it lasts about, 64 seconds, that's an absolutely phenomenal thing. Triple CC means the equivalent of about 10.5 workers for Terran, just because of the mules, if you're consistently using those mules. Clem here, finishing up those depots as he's setting up for his first kind of move out, and that first move out is going to be a very small one, I think. I think that first move out is going to take him from here right to here. Because whenever you open up with triple CC builds, you usually first want to secure that third base. Make sure that your workers can actually, occupy a certain space. Meanwhile, Gerald is just kind of surrounding this base with vision, surrounding this area with vision. Like whenever something moves out, Gerald wants to be aware of it. If he isn't aware of it, he doesn't feel right. So he's going to be moving out, right over here towards his third base location. 59 workers to 57. I think Gerald might be playing a little bit too conservative. We could have seen a much faster fourth base or a timing attack here that could hit right about now if he would have skipped the Colossus. So if you're going for some fast Storm attack or a Zealot Archon attack, you can hit a little bit quicker because you're not investing in those Colossus, in the thermal lens, in the RoboBay, that type of stuff. But instead, we're seeing just Gerald kind of slowly teching into Templar Archives and into a fourth base. Clem, I think, is probably going to want to move out at some point in the near future, as he denies this Observer right now. First 2 medevacs are out. Next 2 are coming in soon as well. It's rare to see Clem this passive, by the way, playing triple CC openers. Clem tends to be a player that is a very big fan of putting on pressure, basically from the very start. So seeing him kind of switch into this ultra passive mode, where he's just sitting back on tanks, is kind of weird. He's scouting with his Marine, sees the timing on the forward base, like, okay, is that something that I want to do something about? And Clem says, yes, it is something I want to do something about. So he's going to be moving out with 2 tanks, clears the Zealot run, but I think a new one needs to be sent out ASAP. Storm is about to finish up here as well, as a +2 attack here starts instantly. Clem on +1 upgrades against +1 upgrades. Storm won't be done quite yet for this push. There's no Ghost Academy here either, so Ghost will not be ready to deal with these Templar. Clem, of course, doesn't know if Storm is available. Now sees no Storm being used and probably will be capable of figuring it out. More Templar moving in forward. Will morph into an Archon. Second Forge behind this as well. Viking count starting to grow. Whereas the first few Vikings should be rallying across the map. There we go. Clem really wants to take out this base, and I think he might just be capable of doing that. Look at it. Look at its supply difference here. 10 Zealots have gone down already in this game. That's a big contributor to this supply advantage that we're seeing for the world champion. Get a stim backward. Triple Colossus will start fighting. Both of these tanks are going to get taken out. A couple of zoning storms. And I do believe that Geralt should be capable of keeping his army alive, but his base is actually going to end up falling. The hallucination will trigger, well, at least one of these. Mine will trigger, I think, on a sentry or on a stalker. Almost clears the Templar as well. Now the fort base being rebuilt and a new fort base on the way. Ship weapons starting already. That is very early. I do like it. Because whenever that Liberator transition, that inevitable Liberator transition comes in, having those ship weapon upgrades done already, it's going to be a huge deal. Because the moment you hit +2 on the ship weapons, are going to be so effective against Stalkers, which is obviously what you want. 2 more Ghosts now coming in as the Ghost Academy has finished up. I'm honestly surprised that Clem is taking such a passive approach. His medevacs are completely empty, so maybe that's the reason why he doesn't want to stim right now. He's kind of building back up in a way. Cyclone in the main base plus turret, by the way, is going to be a phenomenal defense against any type of prism. Should not be capable of getting in here. That's a 4-man drop, by the way, heading towards the right side. I wonder if Geralt saw that. As in, he spotted it with the Observer. And his army movement makes me believe that he also kind of figured it out here. Because he's just walking there big time. Viking's going to move in. This Prism tried to poke into the main base. 3 more barracks out. On the way. We're going to go into very solid production overall for Clem. 1 starport, 8 barracks, double eBay. And we're ready to go. The 4 medevac drop actually manages to kind of sneak by. This is really bad for Geralt. Geralt not aware of where this is going. He's going to go straight into his natural. Going to get a Zealot warp in into the net. At the same time, we have a main army move out. This is without medevacs, by the way. So that means there's just going to be a single stim available. 10 workers will go down. Another storm here as well on top of this army. These bad boys are hopping straight into the main base. 16 workers falling at an instant. As this is looking really bad for Geralt. Vikings taking out those Colossus. Main base being absolutely slaughtered. It is gonna get cleaned up here eventually. At the same time, if Geralt just stabilizes, clears these medevacs, it's still looking pretty bad, to be honest. It's still looking pretty bad. He'll really need to do some serious work on those medevacs in the future. I hope Clem is not just straight up gonna fly in here, because Stalkers are waiting to snipe it. There's just not enough stuff here, not enough workers for Geralt to lose 31. He has been reproducing them at a very high pace. I'll give him that. He's back up to 70 already. These medevacs do manage to sneak by. Ship weapons level 2, and I saw a second starport as well. Apparently one of the players lagged out, or one of the observers lagged out. I saw that second starboard. Where are you at? Okay, there we go. So we have double medevac production right now. Or I guess quadruple medevac production if necessary with that reactor. Medevac count's at 5. Viking count is at 5 as the Colossus moves in forward. It's going to be Disruptor, Templar, Zealot, single Colossus. Kind of a weird army. Maybe good enough to quickly snipe a planetary, but Geralt does not quite want to risk it. Gets a storm on top of this army. They have a lot of energy though on these medevacs. So I'm not very worried about Clem here, to be honest. Geralt has managed to kind of just quickly get back into the game when it comes to the eco. Has a bit of map control as well, which is weird to see. I'm very surprised to see the map control going back to Geralt here. Because it's... I thought I was going to hit all of these Templar. Not quite the case. As we are going to continue on here into a 5th, 6th command center for Clem. Oh my god, what's this? A single drop heading towards the right side as he moves out towards the middle. Disruptor there shooting its own Arkham down. Another stim coming out of Clem. He's adding in 2 more command centers on top of everything. He's just kind of gonna sit back, kite back a little bit. Taking good trades overall, up about 2,000 in the resources lost tab. Is it the 2nd or the 3rd robotics? That's the 2nd robotics facility. Once again, building up that Colossus count. So far, Colossus haven't really impressed me with their ability to deal damage. 4 of them have gone down already. And even with a relatively low Viking count, Clem is doing an okay job at dealing with it. Zealot run-by hitting the top side is just going to spot this move out. Or perhaps Clem is going to spot this Zealot run-by. Gerald's going to use it as a defensive setup right now. And at the same time, we have Clem pushing out forward. One weird thing here is that we don't have that many ghosts, and we don't actually have a single ghost in this army. It's going to make it difficult to push into stormed up positions, which there's loads of those. We have 3 Templar over here. We don't have an energy recharge available quite yet, but soon we might, as the fusion core is about to pop out. And that means we're going to be seeing that Liberator production start relatively shortly. Plus 3 ship weapons already coming in as well. He really put a big priority there on the ship weapons. That is surprising, because we usually don't see it as much. Having that before the +3 armor, or at the same time as the +3 armor, it's kind of crazy. So Viking's going to be very powerful here. Liberator's going to be quite good overall as well. Once they hit that +2 kind of threshold, they're going to be phenomenal. We have a 3rd starport coming in too, as well as the advanced ballistics as our first upgrade here on the fusion core, rather than the Caduceus reactor. A lot of freaking air units, and Clem right now in complete control, by the way. Like, has vision everywhere on this map, has units going everywhere, and these split armies are so freaking hard to deal with if you're a Protoss player, because Ghost Marine Marauder just splits so ridiculously well. You're going to need some type of splash in every army, but the Protoss army is just best when together. You have these different types of splash kind of overlapping. You have the zoning of the Storm, you have the consistent damage output of the Colossus, and perhaps even a Disruptor or 2 in there for the, the occasional jackpot shot that you can get. Good blink forward, I think. Could have killed these Vikings. It's gonna kill these Vikings. A couple of zoning storms here, allowing the Colossus to run back. Not the greatest fight for Geralt, despite clearing majority of the Vikings there. Is afraid to continue battling it out over here. Triple Liberators right now in production. We have the next starport. Once again, so there's triple starports here. He's gonna have insane air unit production with all of this. Orbital count right now is at 4. We're adding in another command center. I wouldn't mind seeing like 2-3 more command centers here, just for extra orbit, or just for extra muling. I think it's a very useful tool to have. Liberators moving in forward are going to siege up this right side position, not zoning out that much, to be quite honest. Good storm hits here as well. Purification Nova could move forward. Another storm in the middle of these medevacs. Actually, this is potentially an okay fight here for Geralt. If we can get another warp in and these Colossus stay alive, this was really not that bad. At the same time, we have a small force on the left side, which is going to take out a base. This Zealot run-by is not dealing the damage that it shoulda, woulda, coulda. We're going to have a Dark Shrine coming in behind all of this, but Geralt is going to lose that left side base. Still is going to be active on 5 bases, as this right side has finished up right now. But Clem, even in bases, with a 6th on the way, 3 more command centers for orbitals going down as well. This is not looking great for the Protoss player right now. That being said, actually resource lost also looks terrible. Bank is kind of okay for Geralt. Like, if we look at just the supply and the bank, it's not like this is game over, but infrastructure wise and like orbital wise, it is not looking great. Like, this would have been a really good spot had Geralt been like 8 bases and the potential to just mine whenever he wants to. But right now he's actually going to need to perform in the fights, and so far he hasn't been performing in the fights, which is what worries me the most. Clem is actually going to transition into 2 more starports, and all of his starports are actually moving, except for 1, are moving into tech labs. This... sorry. We're gonna have the... and this can only be for for battlecruisers in this phase of the game, but I've never seen Clem actually do that in my entire life, so I'm just a little bit confused. He's going to lose this fight here on the right side as well. As Gerald's actually going to take a little bit of a lead in this game. As a result, it's going to have quite a bit of pushing potential here, or at least taking the map control. I am really curious what Clem's plan here is with these tech labs. Because in my mind, this can only be for battlecruisers or Vikings. Battlecruisers or Ravens. Because it can be Banshee. But the Ravens also doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You could add in a couple, but you could just have a single one. So my feeling tells me that this is a battlecruiser. Yeah, okay. It is a battlecruiser transition. He's going to add in more tech labs. He's not in such a hot position, though, right now. As he wanted to transition into it, he probably wanted to do it while he had map control. While he was, you know, winning the game and be like, okay, that's going to be kind of the finishing blow. It's difficult for me to take extremely good fights into this army. Let me just get a couple of those late game super units. But right now, he's actually in a spot where he's being pushed back, and the battlecruisers are going to be the units that will need to turn this around for him, because he's being outmined severely. Gerald with a very high worker count, with the map control, which is the opposite of what you usually want. Clem is actually mass battlecruiser transitioning. The only player that has done this in the past, like somewhat consistently, was Spirit. He used to do this, like always in the late game, mass battlecruiser. I remember some epic games between him and Stats with mass battlecruiser transitions, but this is a first for Clem. I don't actually think I've ever seen him build a battlecruiser in my life, like in any matchup really. He's going to win this fight on the right side. That's going to give him a lot of time to now start transitioning, by the way, which is nice. The funny thing is, if he wasn't transitioning into BCs, he probably would be capable of just walking over his opponent, just straight up owning him with the Liberator, Marauder, Ghost army. But he's actually going to use them in the army as well. There's no way. BCs are usually used like a very expensive harassment unit, and that's because they have the ability to fly into one side, use Yamato cannons or just their high damage output, and then teleport to the other side, and they can join up with an army or teleport on top of an army. They can basically be like two places at the same time, which makes them a very potent harassing force, because they can always join up with the main army if things do end up getting quite dicey. Clem still feels like he has the kind of the authority to be out on the map. I am surprised that Gerald is giving him this space, because there is just so much supply tied up in stuff that isn't doing anything right now for Clem. We have one Liberator here, we have like 4 BCs, we have 4 more BCs going in there as well. Like, Gerald should absolutely be capable in this moment to take on this army, because the army value that is over here, or the army supply that's over here compared to this, is just much, much bigger for Gerald. But he's scared, because he knows from the past that if Clem is maxed out and he's maxed out, usually those fights don't go very well. So he's not actually looking at the situation that's given to him. He's like, hey, that's like a 50 supply army. I have freaking 102 supply. Like, I should be capable of winning this. And Clem is doing some Sun Tzu stuff over here, pretending to be strong, while in reality he's very, very weak in this moment. And I think Gerald is realizing, wait a second, there's like 5 Marauders and 4 Ghosts. I have freaking 5 Colossus, like 12 Stalkers here. Like, I should be capable of winning this fight. The fact that Clem managed to gaslight Gerald for such a long time is really a testament to how sick he is as a player. As a DT squad is going to smash this right side base and a bunch of workers. We saw a big disruptor shot hitting the Ghost as well. Here come the BCs. Is the BC transition going to be big enough here? I'm very curious. He's going to teleport just right on top of this. I don't think Gerald had quite expected this. 8 BCs TPing on top of the army. I think this was recall worthy. Yamato cannon not being researched, by the way, is an absolute shame, as the BCs are actually they're going to clear all of the anti-air. This is one of the oldest tricks in the book, and I did not expect to see Clem go for it. There's 2 more BCs now moving forward. He realizes, wait a second, Yamato would have been great to have her. The BCs are just going to straight up, well, I'm not sure if they're going to win the game, but they're clearing all of the big threats over here. These DTs need to be dealt with. We still have an active force. Gerald is kind of just shell-shocked. He's not doing anything. He's trying to warp in Stalkers like 12 at a time, and he's just kind of running them into the meat grinder that these 9 battlecruisers are. One of them is now going to get taken out. Second BC should get slaughtered here as well. Number 3, will it go down? Yes, it will. But the problem is that there's still too many battlecruisers active. We have more being built behind all of this as well. There's 2 more somewhere else. I don't know where they are. Okay, we have 1 over here. maybe one in the main army. Yep, it's gonna join up. And these upgrades on the VCs are freaking mental, by the way. 3-1 upgrades, 22 minutes into the game. I cannot believe that Clem managed to break open this with the battle cruisers. He started the transition in a bad moment and then just gaslit Geralt for the next like 5 minutes into believing that he was strong. This is some of the sickest gaslighting I've seen in StarCraft 2 in my entire life. Like Geralt being afraid of a 50 supply army for like 3.5 minutes or so. It has to be one of the moves of all time. As, yeah, Clem is just going to pick up this victory here. There's not enough gas in the tank anymore for Geralt to warp in decent Stalker counts. And thus he's dead. This is such a surreal one. That is really scary to have this one in your back pocket, by the way. Like, battlecruiser transitions, I think, have been underrated at the highest level. Because often the games end up going quite stable, but this is absolutely something else. Because I really think that one of the hard things as a Protoss player is to kind of realize when you have the ability to be very aggressive and take fights, especially if there's like these big liberator walls or if there are army splits going on. It can be super tricky as a Protoss player to kind of judge in the moment, okay, this is where I need to push in hard. And if there's the possibility of a battlecruiser transition happening behind it, it's one of those things that can kind of mess with you, I think. Because if there is a battlecruiser transition, you probably want to be more aggressive and take more control. But if that's not the case, then you could just be kind of killing yourself into your opponent's liberator wall. Because you just need to take risk, right? You need to attack in there, and usually with a Remax it will be fine. But if you take a terrible fight and they're actually 200 supply of Bio Lib Ghost, it's going to suck massively. So it's cool to see Clem kind of experiment with that. I do wonder if this was done out of a, oh, I'm really far ahead, let me throw down a fusion core and 3 more starports. Because when he started the transition, or started thinking about the transition, the game was looking very good. But then as he actually started building battle cruisers, he was in a really weird spot. Like down 20 supply, wasn't even really maxed out, had no cash in the bank whatsoever. So it's one of these situations where I'm not sure if he thinks this is legit or he's just kind of trolling around, you know, having a good old time. It's yeah, it's a weird one for sure. Cool to see though. I always like seeing top players kind of dabble into the stuff that I kind of see out of a Gumiho usually, you know? This is not a Clem-esque build whatsoever. And I see a Medevac into Banshee here, I think. Could be a Raven as well, actually. Have seen both, will see both in the future as well. You have a robotics facility, 2-gate, 3-gate. It's going to be probably a similar build to last game. I think Geralt's a type of player that really like just kind of sticks to his guns with the same type of build order. Ooh, this Adept Shade is barely going to miss that Medevac. Very unfortunate for the Polish Protoss player. Not going to have these Stalkers quite in the position where they want to be. As yeah, the Medevac with a single Mind Drop comes in. We're going to get Cloak and Raven behind this, by the way. Mind Drop now. Whoa, beautiful move. Look at that. So what happened here is that the mine, it targets the probe. And then Geralt basically timed the probe into the gas. And in the gas, you're safe. It's kind of like a nuclear bunker, except against mines. Also works against nukes, by the way. If you're in the assimilator while the nuke lands, you're not getting hit as a probe. So it's, you know, it's a fun fact. If you have a probe and you find yourself near an assimilator while the red dot becomes a whole lot bigger, you might want to consider that. Clem's gonna... Triple CC, second starport. Nah, I think he might be trolling a little bit here. Second starport Banshee. Triple CC as well. Meanwhile, we have double Forge coming in. Geralt doesn't have any info on even the third CC, by the way. So this is going to be mech, but kind of air Terran mech. Double starport Banshee. Okay, we're actually gonna get Hyperflight Rotors. I thought we might go into Battlecruiser from this opener, but he's just gonna go Hyperflight Rotors into more Banshees, and we have like single tank Marine production. This is going to be so hard to hold your third base. Funnily enough, or sadly enough from Geralt's side of things, I guess. it is kind of hard to kill this if you open up with Colossus. If you're opening up with like Chartlot Archon, you can really kill this quite easily, but with Colossus this is hard. Did Gerald get the info he needed? I don't think he did. He hasn't... I think Gerald is completely misreading this right now. Like, he's seen the tech lab, he's like, okay, that's a barracks with a tech lab. Very standard, right? Nothing weird about it. Did see that there's still Banshees being produced though, which is weird. And also that there's still an upgrade coming in, despite there already being Cloak. So, if I'm Gerald right now and I have this as my information, I have no clue what I am doing with that information. I think I'd just be surprised and confused. Banshee is coming in, it's going to get a couple of kills. We still have this mine drop as well, which probably is going to fly in soon too. Banshee moves into the main. Double armory. I'm so curious what Gerald is going to do once he realizes what has happened. So I just kind of want to be in his first person view. Like, when does the switch come in, you know? When is he like, oh, this is mech? Kinda? Ish? Mech-ish? It's not a real mech yet, although with the double armory, it definitely does feel like it's going into that type of... He's going to be adding in the Templar, because he wants to get Storm again. He's like, okay, I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready for the Storm, man. I can't wait for it. Can't wait to get Storm some Marines. And there's going to be some Marines, but they're going to die anyway. Like, these guys don't even have stim, they don't have combat shield, they have nothing. I am so curious when he's going to figure it out. This is some poor scouting, by the way. But the thing is that you usually don't need to scout. Like, there's no Terran players that go into... that go into mech. Or air Terran, for that matter. Like, it's just not a style that we see, ever. So, he's completely... He's not even considering it. Like, you're not scouting for mech, because it doesn't happen. Like, that's not a safety measure that you take. Because it's not a threat. Like, I can tell you with relative certainty that the last time Gerald lost to Banshee mech was probably in Wings of Liberty. That's the last time he had to consider this as a real build, and I was going to see it for the first time. This is it. So I'm curious if he's going to cancel Storm. Okay, he starts Observer Speed. I think feedbacks are not bad, so having some Templars is actually useful. Might actually just finish Storm as well, as this thing's coming in. Stalker's completely out of position to deal with this. We have 2 more CCs, 3 more CCs on the way for Clem behind this again. I think Gerald is still kind of lost. Okay, he's going to add in an Immortal right now. It's like, okay, it's probably just going to be mech, right? It's going to be tanks and stuff. So Immortals make sense. But what he doesn't realize is this is really a very Banshee-heavy type of style. As 2 of these Banshees are already going to get taken out. Not the greatest start here for Clem. Fort base is going to get taken, though, with the Marine tank as a backup. Raven shows up as well. The Banshees are getting pulled back kind of to safety. Banshees are really, really sick in high numbers, especially against not big enough numbers. It sounds stupid, but Banshees have insane damage output, and they're really fast. So if you can get them shooting at an army or at a base, and they're not dying, they're freaking insane. Their damage output for their supply is so ridiculously good. It's really, really powerful, and I'm loving the Viking plus Raven, allowing you to maybe automatically clear an Observer, and then not having detection available anymore to deal with the Banshees. Like, that's a really cool type of strat that we're seeing here out of Clem. It's like, hey, if I just get 3-4 Vikings and I have a Raven, I just A-move these guys, there's not going to be any Observers remaining to deal with the Banshees. And you kind of automatically clear that. I think that's a very cool call. We have a Zealot run by now coming in. I think Zealot run bys are actually not that useful against this particular style, because Banshees are so freaking fast at dealing with this type of threat. So you have like 6-7 Zealots going in, and they're gonna kill 1 tank. Like, that is 14 supply in exchange of like 3. I don't think that is quite worth it. The Banshee count is going to continue to grow. Now, the Banshees aren't like the BCs where they can teleport to the other side of the map, but with their speed, it often does feel like it. So you have these really quick kind of rotations that we're going to see. On top of that, they can be invisible ahead of time, which makes it hard to spot unless you have like observers in every corner, covering every inch of the map practically. As Gerald heading into a very similar army, just adding in a lot of Immortals, or trying to add in a lot of Immortals. We have a second robotics facility now coming out as well. And here comes Clem. He has a bunch of these. He's actually targeting probes, which I think is bad. You probably should be targeting other things. Look at this. The damage output of them is really, really crazy. I think he should have taken out that cannon a little bit faster. He's now going to fly away, and he's just keeping his opponent busy. He has another group of Banshees, which are going to fly in towards this base, and it's just going to clear a couple of workers. I really like this playstyle. I think this is awesome. I think this is freaking cool. I haven't seen something like this. I really haven't. This is the creative Clem. Fusion core coming in as well. And I mean, you're going to be building crazy upgrades behind all of this. Actually crazy upgrades. It's going to be 5 starport. Tech lab over here. You have the CC heading over towards the gold base as well. And 2 more liberators coming in. So he's actually really well set up. I wonder if he wants to transition into battlecruiser setup here. I think that is the kind of the natural next step. If I were playing, by the way, against such a high Banshee count, I think I'd probably get like a Phoenix or something. So at least you have something to kind of deter these units from just like being in the skies nearby. Like, this is so frustrating to have to deal with. And 1 Phoenix with an observer just kind of clears it. It at least tells it, hey, you have to go back home. You're not allowed on the map anymore. You just can't. As right now, Clem has like semi-map control, where it's really scary for small groups of units to be out, because the Banshees will just come and, you know, take you down a notch. Banshee count is still at 10. We have 2 more on the way. We have Liberators now coming in as well. We have Advanced Ballistics that's going to finish up in about 80%. Like, this is actually really freaking cool. Being so active as well. There's like multiple groups of these boys. Okay, we have a defensive setup, and you can't attack into this, can you? I'm gonna try. Liberators are gonna siege up soon. He's still microing like 2 groups of Banshees individually as well. We have a group on the left, and have a group here on the bottom. Planetary is gonna get knocked out. Luckily, that's just one of the 2. Tanks in the back still dealing a lot of damage. Gerald's not really maxed out. He's gonna add in some Zealots right now. So the battlecruiser transition will indeed happen. Okay, so we're gonna just mass battlecruiser. He must have had like a change of mind on the late game or something. But he seems to be really keen on these BCs, as now that the Banshees are across the map, these Zealots are going to be quite useful. Cannons are being targeted down at a rapid pace. Stalkers do get to teleport back home. I mean, you need something to deal with this that can fly. Like, they're just too fast. They're like freaking 2 volleying cannons over here. Okay, this is a good warp in here in the main. It's going to take out 1 Banshee, loses just a single Stalker. But this is completely fine for Clem. Clem's goal right now is to kind of gradually lose these Banshees, so he can replace them with battlecruisers. That is his goal in life, absolutely. And these BCs are going to have freaking 3-3 upgrades soon, which is a sickening amount. Gerald is kind of being run around, but this time Gerald isn't being gaslit into believing he doesn't have a good army. Like, Gerald knows that he has a force that can contest with whatever Clem has. And I think he's good to kind of throw his weight around here. I think it's a very good call. Because it makes it harder to go into mass BCs if you're constantly under pressure. Gerald now moving to the far right, I'm not as big a fan of. I really think you should kind of control these areas of the map. Clear these rocks, and you have this cut-off possibility, right? You can say, hey, I'm going to attack your gold base. If the gold base is too defended, you kind of move down in a straight line, and you just start attacking this area. Like, max, there's going to be like 2-3 tanks or so. Observers being taken out is a bad look. You have a blink in forward, so that's going to be the Liberators taken out. Tanks as well have gone down right now. Battlecruisers have been spotted. Gonna have an anti-armor missile, doesn't really hit anything. 3 BCs as well as 2 Zealots in the main base. Quite a bit of supply have to deal with that. There's almost no tanks remaining here defensively, by the way. What's the Banshee count? We're at 5. Viking count is phenomenal. I think Clem was anticipating an air response, because he has so many Vikings here in this force that are not really dealing any damage, not really helping anything. It's like he was preempting a Tempest, a Phoenix, a carrier transition, which never comes, or hasn't come quite yet. It never came. We have a battlecruiser count right now of 6. 3 more on the way. Banshee's also being helpful. The double Colossus over here will get taken out. 14 workers going down on the side of Clem. This is bad, but he does have 9 orbitals, so it's not really the end of the world here. These Vikings are just dying, completely useless. Have managed, I guess, to clear every single observer, which is kind of nice, allowing the Banshees to continue shooting. But a new observer moves in forward. Is going to get spotted here. No, not the Banshees. First the Vikings. There you go. Vikings are going to clear that. Banshees dealing a lot of damage. Liberators need to siege up as well. The battlecruisers so far have been staying alive for majority of the time. Vikings are going to land as well. And this fight Resources loss-wise is extremely close. Eco-wise, does not look as great for Clem anymore. This base is absolutely vital to his survival. He needs some time to throw down mules as well. And he needs a crap ton of gas added into the mix, because he's really lacking the gas. He has plenty of minerals, but gas is just such an important resource. And you can see that he's building Hellions one at a time. Clem right now wishes that he had 3-4 factories, at least one of them with a reactor, so he could just go mass Hellion, either for harass or just get a defensive line with Hellbats, which could be quite useful. Planetary not quite done yet, which means that these Stalkers have just such high potential here in this type of situation. Just kind of moving in, getting a single shot off on those BCs and then running away. There's no pressure on Gerald anymore, by the way, and he's utilizing it very well. Double expanding as he gets complete map control. I would love to see him add like a couple more gates. Okay, he's doing just that. 4 more gates on the way. I wouldn't mind if that's like 8 more gateways at this point. He's getting shield, which usually is terrible against Terran, but in this particular case, not a bad call whatsoever. Why is it not a bad call? It's because there's not going to be any ghost. There's no ghost, shield upgrades actually quite useful. This is a good blinking forward, completely utilizing the fact that he is in control. He's absolutely in control right now. BC count is still very big. Banshees are coming in for some extra added DPS and lower gas cost. There's no thing here. Oh, there's an observer in the back. Banshees are dealing so much freaking damage, man. They really are something. The funny thing, by the way, is that the Vikings are pretty much useless unless there's air units at this point, because BCs can also do the job of sniping observers. So seeing Clem building 5 Vikings at a time makes me believe that Clem still thinks that this is going to be a Tempest transition. Like, Clem is consistently preparing for a transition that Gerald has no plan of executing. He has 0 air weapon upgrades. Does he even have a star? He has no Stargate. He has 0 Stargate. He's never going to transition into anything but this. Banshees do go towards the top left side of the map, and now we're fighting these Stalkers head on. Storm is going to help out. I think these Banshees win this battle. Like, I'm telling you, Banshees in in big numbers versus medium numbers of Protoss units are freaking insane. And right now, Clem is actually taking a little bit of momentum back. He still needs a 6th base kind of desperately. Yeah, we see that orbital moving towards the right. He's just not mining as much as his opponent is. And every base that Gerald takes out is just a terrible situation here for Clem. Another orbital is going to get knocked down. Gerald is going to lose his first base, but he still has the left side, or at least has potential of mining from that left side. This base is not even going to fall because they're just not quick enough at taking stuff out. Gerald with a big force in the bank right now gets a massive teleport here on top of all of this. Vikings are going to land. We'll clear that single observer that was there as well, but Vikings landed against Immortals is usually not quite what you want. BC is just too slow to chase. And honestly, Clem's obsession with having a very big Viking count ahead of time is biting him in the bum here a little bit. Like, he's lost 22 Vikings in this game, and really all they've done is snipe observers. The moment BCs were out, the Viking was useless. Going up to 10 Vikings is like a crazy play in this situation, especially because he has such a high starboard count. It's like, hey, whenever you want, you can just transition into more Vikings. Like, you have a reactor on at least one of these starports. You can produce 6 Vikings at a time. Like, that is 2-3 production cycles away from the amount of Vikings you'd ever want to have against Tempest anyway. And I think he just kind of underestimated that. Actually, he has freaking 7 starports, 2 of them with reactors. Like, I can't do math, but I think that is 9, right? That is 9 Vikings at a time. So that's 2 production cycles that you need. 2. And you have Vikings and BCs to win time as well. Like, I really think that was a huge blunder here out of Clem right now. He's just never going to get this army. There's no way in hell that he's going to kill this entire army all at once. Because Gerald can just blink away. Like, what is Clem gonna do? Blink on top of this? Good luck with that. We haven't seen a whole lot of Yamatos yet either, by the way. I'm kind of waiting for those to go down. Just hit some of these freaking blinkers. Or hit even these Templar. Might be useful. There we go. It's gonna try to hit some stuff. Hit both of the Templar with the bad boys. Going to lose a base at the same time. We have a Zealot going down here towards this base, seeing if there's anything going on there. This isn't really mining either. And Gerald's just going to commit to this fight right now. With the +1 shield, there's a very decent chance of doing something good. I think a defensive recall here could be helpful too. Oh yeah, Gerald is going to send it right now. And I believe that Gerald will end up winning the game here, because this fight is going to go a little bit too well. Resources lost relatively even, despite all of that, by the way. Despite Clem flying around with 25, 30 useless supplies in Vikings the entirety of the game and being down 20 supply, the resources lost were still close. So that shows that this army comp has some potential, but Gerald just a little bit too good here. So far, this has just been a really fresh series altogether. Like, Clem just... I'm not sure what this is, you know? I don't know if Clem is like, okay, I don't want to play a standard game. But it started out with a standard game on the first map. And then he's just been kind of... I don't want to say he's been winging it, but... I feel like there was definitely some thought put into the build, right? This wasn't the first time he played this. This feels like the type of build you play in a 2v2. I know Clem doesn't mind playing a 2v2 every now and again. This absolutely felt like a 2 versus 2 build. Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna see something like this again, because it's all good and fun when you're up 1-0, but when the score is 1-1 in a best of 3, let's see what he actually resorts to playing. As Gerald seems to have only a single build order, thrown on the Twilight Council as his first structure. Adds in the battery as well. Does he just get a blind battery every single game? Jesus. That sure is some StarCraft 2 if you ask me. Blind battery. Alright. See how he's going to figure out the rest. Going to be a double mine drop coming in as a start, so much more common build order. But we saw a mine drop in the last game. It still went into some shenanigans. We did have a slightly faster tech lab there though, so kind of curious to see how this is gonna go. Yeah, this guy's waiting to build a barracks or something. What the hell is he? What the hell are you doing, buddy? Gets down at barracks. One mine downstairs. Oh no, one mine burrowed over here actually. Nothing downstairs, chief. Gonna start flying across the map right now. We have a bunker down here as well. It's Clem setting himself up for, I guess, a tank follow-up. Ooh. Adept's gonna finish its shade. Going to cost the Adept its life, but we'll get the full scout here. Yeah, depots are gonna go up. Love to see a little bit of a split. Now he's gonna get an SCV kill. And you can do about that. Barracks will finish up at some point though. This medevac's gonna come in just before Blink ends up being done. And you see Clem here with this single Reaper is pulling 3 Stalkers away. That means that there's nothing really in position in the main or in the natural. So we're gonna get 1 drop in the natural. It's going to kill a single worker. Good control out of Gerald. Mine will also get taken out, so that's fine. But I think the main base is the real issue. We're gonna get probably 1 or 2 unbarrels on this. At least 1. Now it's gonna clear a mine. I wonder if he's gonna try to save it. He wanted to, but he ends up not doing it. Raven as a follow-up. We have Stim. We have 4 worker kills total. I don't know where all of those came from. I guess the Reaper got 2 kills as well. Where the hell did that guy get it? Okay, 2 kills on the Reaper. That's crazy. Tank behind this. We have a Robobay now coming up for Gerald. He has a Forge as well. She's going to be chilling over here with a Stalker in the main base. Stalker's moving out on the map. As his first observer flies across, trying to get a little bit of information. I really think Banshee would have been sicker right away. Look at the defensive setup for Gerald. He's like nothing. He absolutely has nothing. When it comes to Banshees, they're like a single ops. I really think Mine Drop into Banshee is a really sick build order against Blink in particular. Because you kind of want to keep some observer, like your first observer has to go across the map, but you also kind of want to keep it at home. And that can really suck if you're playing against Banshee. If you're like keeping it at home and then you're not seeing that it's Banshee. The Banshee flies in. There's like 5 workers before your observer even gets in position. So just not a great spot that you're going to be in. Clem, 88 supply right now against the 72 of Gerald. And this medevac doesn't have a mine anymore. I don't really think you have to kind of check it with this Stalker no more. Like, I understand you want to keep something nearby just in case, but you're never going to catch that medevac. The moment Clem wants out of here, he's out of here, right? Yeah, he's just going to kind of shoot by it. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. Gerald is considering blinking into the main base. My advice would be not to do that. My professional advice would be to stay on the low ground, alright? Just focus on the here and the now, not on the here and the there. The there and the later. It's going to be a mistake. 2 more barracks are coming in, most likely in the natural. There we go. That is the Clem that I know. A couple more gateways. As Gerald apparently needed a second. That's the beauty of doing all these replay casts. You don't have to actually wait the physical time. Just boom. It goes and it goes. Templar Archives, he has a very particular style. Like, he really has his own thing that he does. I wonder if he's going to be capable of surviving here. Goes in with... Oh, this is cute. He goes in for like a semi-base trade move here. Wanting to snipe either the stim or the combat or just a tech lab for all he cares. But this gets stopped here by the Marauder Marine Force. What is this? What are we seeing over here, Mr. Clem? 1 tank, 3 mines. Tank on the low ground can shoot these guys over here, by the way. It's something we shouldn't forget. Oh, that's a bad blink. That's a bad blink. -2 Stalkers, minus a Zealot. I think Clem can actually just kind of walk over this army here with his Marauders. He was considering it. He absolutely was considering this. As the low ground tank is going to have vision here, the next move should be a pickup of both of these medevacts heading towards the left side. I think that is the most logical maneuver that we can see here. Tank has 4 kills. Yeah, this is really the only thing that makes sense. If you're putting on this much pressure and your first fight goes this well, usually you want to split up army. Usually you want to split up army because you know your opponent can only win if Colossus are together with the main. So you have the opportunity to either deny a fort base or to deal damage to a third. And I think both is completely fine here. Even if Clem only denies a fort base, he's going to be in a completely playable position here. As in really far ahead. Because he's up 50 supply right at this moment. He's going to move in further. He has this ability, this possibility to still drop into the natural, but also to go around and try dropping into the main. So there's really a lot of openings here. He's gonna reroute this, go towards the main. He's following this up with Vikings, by the way, so he's playing it very safe. I think a more aggressive Clem here could have maybe continued medevac production and just keep going with the drops, keep going with the different plays. He's gonna snipe this Robo Bay. It's actually gonna cost him a little, I think. But at the same time, he's clearing so much. This tank, 13 kills, 15 kills. All of those kills are probes, by the way, or almost all of them. And that's really freaking painful. We're gonna get a storm on top of his army as Clem splits forward to try and snipe these Templar. Has the Vikings in the back as well. Tank in the back, dishing out a bit of damage. No target fire. Now target fires at Colossus. Not quite gonna get it, but it is 81 supply to 140. Double the supply for Clem right now. I think can just eat this Colossus alive if he wants to. Still have a drop going down in the main as well. The auto turret man is behind it with 10 kills already total. Medevac is gonna get cleared. That is a start and a half. We have a fort base on the way. We have a drop landing in the natural, but Gerald staying in here is big. Okay, I'll be honest. I find it big that he's staying in. And he's like, this ain't over. This ain't over. But it'd really be a little over here, in my opinion. It's just not looking that good. We have another auto turret that came down in the main base. Let's see if that Raven guy got 2 more kills. We have a drop heading back into the main as well. We have this army moving out right now to the middle of the map. There's a lot of Templar. We do have 2 Colossus. There's not that many medevacs in his army. There's 1, which is a very low number. So maybe you force a stim, you drop every single storm in a. I mean, the splits here are good. It's gonna. The pre-split there was good. Colossus gets sniped. Templar being taken out. Gerald though takes an okay fight. Killed quite a bit of supply there. Has a fort base, which is mining. Has a natural, which is going to be mining soon again. Clem's halfway done with this CC. I'm not saying that Gerald is back in the game, but he's building a lot of workers at a very high pace. And he is being aggressive here. Without Ghost, playing against high Templar counts can be quite tricky. Let's see if this is even being spotted by Clem. I don't think it is. Does not have a Viking to deal with it. If there were like 4 Zealots in here, you warp in 4 more. That's a very big deal. That is a very big deal. Clem's gonna instantly reroute this Viking. We're gonna get a 9 Zealot warp into the main. Gerald, 130 supply to 130, is trying to clear some SCVs. Here comes the flanking Templar, not good enough. Here comes another flanking Templar. Terrible storm. Decent storm. And we have 1 more. Let it be good. It's fine. This bunker's just not going down, but 15 workers do fall. We have a lot of cash in the bank for Gerald. Yeah, it's not so easy if you don't have BCs, is it, Clem? 17 workers going down on his side. More depots falling in the main. That's not the end of the world. Reinforcements being taken out as well. We still have these stalkers active. Dude, Geralt might be doing it. He's gonna blink in forward, snipes a Viking, snipes a medevac. Does not want to attack these ghosts because he's afraid of the Clem pickup micro. He's gonna lose quite a few units here in the end. So he's gonna get cleaned up as he throws down his own Robo Bay right now. Ship weapons level 1. It's gonna be 2-2 upgrades against 2-1. But +2 armor is on the way as well. This is such a weird freaking game. I really thought it was over when Clem was doubling the supply of his opponent with 140 to 72. But Geralt just kind of comes back. Dude, he just never stops building stuff. It's like constant pro production. Even when behind. We're gonna have two potential storms in this. I don't think we have an EMP available. We do have a ghost that could snipe. Okay, we're gonna get a storm. That was okay. Look how low these medevacs are. And look how low these units are. These medevacs are gonna be busy with that for a little bit. Do have a second starport, which I think is absolutely vital here to Clem's survival. The fact that he's delaying 3-3 upgrades to get out more medevacs should tell you quite a bit. Fourth base here, absolutely essential. Fifth base for Geralt, absolutely essential too. We have extra gases coming in right now, so I am feeling okay for Clem still. Like Geralt, he had an opportunity, but I don't think it got utilized correctly. Like he spent so much time right-clicking a bunker that didn't die. Like, if you storm those SCVs, you kill like another 10 SCVs, and you kill the bunker, then all of a sudden Clem's eco is really bad. He's just going to be down like 12 units or so, and we don't have a storm anymore. Would have loved to see a feedback turn around. Gonna get the 8 marine drop here. Loving the vibes. The simulator being targeted down. Maybe we can get a pickup on this force as well. No, so far is the answer. We're gonna get a storm on top of this. Marines will end up dying. +3 attack finally starts for Clem. As he continues pushing in forward, I do believe that, yeah, Geralt's going to be in a world that probably just doesn't have the Templar count. Like, if you have like 2-3 Templar with full energy, this fight maybe could still be turned around. But here, actually, plenty of Stalkers. Fight is still going to get turned around. Reinforcements are running across the map. A couple more medevacs as well. The medevac count is looking a lot more healthy, by the way. And that means that stims aren't as painful as they were before. Single Colossus. +3 armor comes in, 5th CC comes in. We have a prism in the main base, but it's actually being cleared by the reinforcement. That is so frustrating, because then it's just a massive money sink. Oh no, the endless money pit of warping in zealots into your opponent's production. That is clearing it. Yeah, this is a mistake. Geralt's going to need to piss off out of this main base. That prism a little bit too slow is going to get knocked out. 3 more Vikings on the way. Just a single Colossus. Like, there is Ghost, there are Vikings. There's a Raven, which has 17 kills total, by the way. Never died. 17 kills on a Raven, hello. That's not okay. How many workers have gone down in general in this game? 56 workers killed against 30 workers killed. Clem's gonna move towards the left side. Also has an... I think this is an army here on the right, yeah? Yeah, a couple of EMPs do connect with the Stalker force. I just don't think there's enough. There's just not enough Geralt anymore, and I think there's just a little bit too much Clem. 5th base is gonna fly over. +3 won't finish before this, but I don't even think it matters whether it finishes or not. This is a good enough Bioforce that can take in this. This is a good enough ground force that can take out this 5th. And Clem is just playing it so well here with the double army split. Is going to take out this Nexus ASAP. Does he want to continue fighting? He's gonna go snipe the Colossus. Bit of a wild play, and at the same time he's winning a fight over here. Vikings could drop to the ground right now, or could still stay in the air, whatever you please, buddy. So he's up 60 supply, and I don't think Geralt's going to find the comeback here. Because right now he's also down in workers, he's going to be down in upgrades, he's going to be down in absolutely everything. Bases, workers, army, upgrades, and these are the most important things in StarCraft 2. It's being out-dropped right now, outmaneuvered by the world champ. As yeah, the next reinforcement with the +3 attack, just going to be a little bit too much in my opinion. I have this drop here as well, behind the pylon gate. 2 Vikings in the sky, pop. 3 Vikings in the sky, pop. That's beautiful stuff there. 6 medevacs. 1 Viking, decent Marauder army. Gerald, by the way, does manage to once again kind of close the gap a little. I think it was like 70, 60 supply earlier, but it's still a very big gap, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it, especially down in upgrades. 8 barracks production, by the way. Double starport. I don't think this factory has done anything in the past 5 years, but it's still around, floating, in case it ever gets called back into action. I thought it was over 11 minutes in, to be honest, and Gerald made some wonderful comebacks. He really tried his best to keep this game going for as long as humanly possible, but I mean, surely at this point, he's actually going to end up dying. I don't see a world where that's not the case. The Archon gets recalled here, and it's going to land the Vikings, going to clear the final Archon, and that is going to be it for this very odd series. BC, Banshee, big comebacks. Honestly, one of my favorite series of the year so far. I know the year's still young, but yeah, big recommendation to watch it again and to subscribe to my channel. Thanks. Bye-bye.